Hello, guys, and welcome back to yet another meetup of Kaggle Days Surat. Welcome you all to Sunday meetup and fun learning session. Today we have Aqib and Tirth with us. So they both are ML practitioner and they love to teach people and grow with community. And it feels really great. Once I was a part of this session, and it feels really great and honor to host them today. And before we move ahead, I would like to thank our community partners, Merge Intern, for helping us with the community and reaching out to the community people. And let's start and call upon Teeth and Akif with us today. Um,
Hello, guys.
Hello everyone. Thank you,
Hello,
Manpreet.
everyone. Thank you
so
so much, Manpreet.
Yeah. So before I start this session, and before we start, please introduce yourself in just two lines for our audience to know more about you.
Okay, so as you said, my name is Aqib Ahmed. I'm a senior software engineer. I work for a telecom company. Apart from that, I'm also a trainer. I train students on machine learning, AI, web development, automations. Yes. So that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, and when it comes to me, myself, Tirth Shah, I'm a founder of a company, the MAD. And beyond this, I'm a machine learning practitioner. And yes, we are developing some AI-based products. And with this, I'm also a machine learning trainer. And we have trained. In short, I can say me and Aqib, we are just like a duet who does things, who trains things together. So we have
Yes.
trained students. And right now over here, having a very interesting session on machine learning and deep learning with you all guys.
So, as Akib, you are a software engineer. So, do you get this often this question like why you want to go into machine learning? Like, what did you motivated to go into deep learning? You are into software engineering. How difference does this feel make to you?
Okay, there is this a little misconception in a lot of people that software engineering and AI or machine learning are two different fields. Obviously, they are different, but there is a very good overlap. So when I say I'm a senior software engineer, doesn't mean I'm working only on the applications. So when I say machine learning project, the end-to-end project, that entire pipeline has a lot of software engineering concepts as well. So yes, so those two are not very different things. They have an overlap between them.
Okay, and it's coming to you. What was the idea behind the MAD, the name, and what is your aim through it that you want to reach out to people?
Okay, so when it comes to the mad, you just say MAD. Okay, MAD means someone who is like mad behind learning things. And beyond this, let us just have a full form of MAD, that is machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data science. So our motto is to educate students in these three fields and with this web development and other skills that are like gaining some real world practical examples in the learnings and moving ahead on the career, stepping into the more dimensions of the career ahead.
Okay, and Akib, so there's a lot of things happening. Like people don't know actually like machine learning, how it's different from data science and AI. People generally confuse it to be as a one field. So what are
Correct.
your takes on this?
Okay, so again, the answer is going to be pretty much same. So people, when I talk to a lot of students, so they think data science and data analytics are same, machine learning and artificial intelligence is same. So in
Yeah.
fact, to answer this question, when I start my topic, I have a topic for that, dedicated topic for that. So maybe at that point of time, I'll be able to answer you better because I have a visualization. I will show you where does data science stand, where does data analytics stand, where does machine learning AI fit into this entire picture. So I'll be able to tell you better in probably another few minutes.
Okay, and for like the what is like data science for you, and what is I know you have been conducting workshops on chatbot. So
Correct.
how does that come? Yeah. So what is data science for you? If you would like audience to know about it.
Okay. So when it comes to data science, okay, data science is something where you are given a data, and from that data, let's just come up with the word science. What do you mean by science? Science means finding out something, coming up with some insights. So yes, there is a data, and from that data, when you come up with some insights that are useful for the business, it means the data science. And this is not
Okay.
something, this is the combination of the analytics part and also the machine learning part. So data science includes data interpretation, then data analysis, and then also data modeling. So this is the three steps that comes under data science.
Very well explained.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So moving ahead, if our audience sees this session, what are the two or three takeaways they would be expecting from this session?
Okay.
Akiv and
Yeah,
Deep.
so they will get an overview first of all what exactly these things are and how do they go about modeling. First of all, a lot of people have again, they will get to know what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning and how do they get started with these things. So to be very honest, when I had started on this journey probably 2 years back, there were so many questions in my head. What is the supervised, which I get to see a lot of times? What is this unsupervised learning? What is this regression, classification? What is target variable for that matter? So I had a lot of questions, and googling these things will take you to so many different places. A lot of information, you're gonna get confused.
Correct.
So if you are one of those people who have a lot of confusion over here, so one of the takeaways is you will get the clarity over here over all these things. So that is something that
Correct.
I would for sure.
Correct. And beyond this, we will be also moving on the things like deep learning. We will see how neural networks work at a very deeper way. So this is something like deep learning in very deep way. So we can, in one line, we can speak something like this. So I tell you everyone that you will not find this content anywhere else online. So that's the depth of this session. With the scratch, that is something we will start with something very basic and then we will end at something very advanced. So this will be the short goal of this session, brief goal of this session.
Okay. Cool. The session is yours, and you can move ahead with the session. And all the best for your sessions ahead. I hope our audience enjoy it. And before we move ahead, if you would take everyone, viewers, to subscribe to the channel because we'll be coming up with more awesome videos ahead. So yeah, go ahead with the session.
Okay. Okay, so guys, I'll be sharing my screen right now, so I hope it's visible. I have a confusion how to map roadmap to data science from zero. Prakhar Patel. By the end of the session, you should be getting an answer for this one. So yes. Okay, I've shared my screen. I hope this is visible right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a lot of slides, guys. I have a lot of slides. In fact, I'm one of those person who do not like slides, to be very honest. But then, in a very, in a very small amount of time, if I have to give you an overview of all these things, slides is one of the best option that I could think of. So yes, let me get started. So what do we have in here for the next? Obviously, it's not 90 minutes. It's going to be next 30 minutes. I've removed a lot of content over here. So what do we have here for the next 30 minutes from my side? So I'll be telling you what exactly is machine learning. Why is machine learning even required? Okay, so apart from that, what are the types of machine learning? And then we'll get into one topic called as neurons. Okay, so I have to get the questions. How will I get the questions? Because once I start sharing the PPT, I am not able to see the questions.
I'll let you know, Akib, at the back end, so don't worry about it.
Sure. Okay, so what comes to your mind when you look at this particular picture? Okay, here I would like to have a lot of interactive session, but again, based on the constraints of time that we have, let me just give you an overview. So as soon as somebody looks at this particular picture, it's just a human with some sort of brain. There's a computer and there is a pipe. This is what people can find out from this particular picture, right? So here there is some sort of intelligence getting transferred. Okay, just just think about it, just give it a thought. So there's some sort of natural intelligence which we as humans have, but then the computers do not have natural intelligence, they are not humans, right? So if we want to give some sort of intelligence to the computers, obviously it has to be artificial intelligence. How do we do that? Let's understand this through the session. And whenever I talk about artificial intelligence, this is something that comes to a lot of people's mind. You know, all these movies. It could be Terminator for that matter. It could be a Indian movie Robot for that matter. Anything. Whenever I speak about artificial intelligence, probably these are the things that comes to our mind, right? But then, to be very honest, I want to set the benchmark right in the beginning that you know, whatever we are, we get to see in the movies, artificial intelligence is still far from that. We have still not achieved that kind of artificial intelligence. If we achieve the kind of artificial intelligence which is shown in the movies, that is called as true artificial intelligence. Okay, but at the same time, I'm not discouraging anything. Whatever we have achieved so far, it's really good. Whatever we have achieved in terms of machine learning and AI, they are very good. Okay, we will be talking about all these things. Now, when I say machine learning and when I say artificial intelligence, people think they are same. Let me tell you where the bifurcation is, where is exactly the overlap and everything. So let's look at this particular picture. If you look at this particular picture, AI is one of the biggest circle over here and machine learning is a smaller circle, which means machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. If I have to describe machine learning, say in 5 words or maybe 6 words, I would say machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. But is machine learning the only way to achieve artificial intelligence? No. So you can achieve it through natural language processing, you can achieve through cognitive computing, you can achieve through expert systems. So there are different ways in which you can achieve artificial intelligence. But then one of the most popular and one of the most famous way is machine learning. So whenever we are discussing about machine learning, doesn't mean we are not discussing about AI. Indirectly, we are actually discussing about AI only. So this is something that I wanna talk about. And guys, just observe this. Machine learning, and then there's a subpart called deep learning. About this, Tirth will take you over here, and Tirth will give you probably all the idea how does it exactly happen. But yes, just have this particular picture on your mind. Artificial intelligence is a very big it's like a very big umbrella under which you have machine learning. Okay, so yes, let me go ahead. I'm not that kind of a guy who want to show you the definitions for machine learning, but then just observe this definition. I will come back to this definition a little later. So machine learning is an application or a function of artificial intelligence that provides systems ability to automatically learn, and you don't have to explicitly program. Obviously, once I read out the definition, it's not going to make any sense. Let me give you one scenario, and after that I will come back to this particular definition. So first, let's understand why is machine learning even required. Okay, so say I still remember when I was in college. If I connect my phone to the college Wi-Fi connection, a lot of websites were blocked. I'm pretty sure you guys have witnessed this. If I have students over here in this particular session, you guys might have witnessed that you connect your phone to a college website. A lot of websites are blocked. Basically, the entertainment sites or the social media sites, things like Wikipedia and all of that will be open, but a lot of other sites will be blocked. In fact, I remember in my very first company as well, when I used to connect my phone to the company network, a lot of websites were blocked. Okay, now let's assume you as a system admin, one of the tasks that you have to do is write a simple program which will allow or block the websites, say one simple script which is, say, if www if url equals www.google.com, allow. If url equals youtube.com, block. Something as simple as that. And let's assume, just for the understanding purpose, that in the entire world there are only 100 websites. That's all. Obviously this is not a realistic situation right now, but let's assume in that case the system admin task is going to be very easy, right? Because he has to just write 100 rules. If url is this, block. If url is that, allow. Because we have only 100 websites, in that case it's going to be pretty easy. But then let's get to a realistic scenario where thousands of websites are getting added to the internet every single minute, and we already have few millions of websites. In that case, do you think system admin can write the rules for this particular scenario? Obviously, it's not going to happen because there are millions and millions of sites. This is where machine learning comes into picture. Okay, so what we can do over here is, first of all, one more thing that I want to tell it to you guys right now is, why is machine learning even used? Machine learning is used for prediction, guys. If I have to tell it in one single word, it's used for prediction. What do we predict? We can predict anything and everything, but it's used to predict future events. Let's say I have a data set which looks something like this. Say a website name, what is the description about that particular website, and I also have one more column which says allow this site or block this site. Something like this. What I can do is I can take this kind of a data, I can train my machine learning model. Okay, I will say I will train my machine learning model on 1,000 websites. Allow block, whatever it is. Now, no matter how many new websites keep coming up, my machine learning model will decide whether to allow it or not. Okay, I'm just giving you one simple scenario about rule-based versus machine learning approach. So if it's a rule-based, you cannot write too many rules. It's going to get very complicated. It's not practical. It's not feasible. This is where machine learning comes into picture. Wherever you have situations where you have to write too many rules, you don't have to do that. What you can do is you can get the data, you can train your model, and every time a new data comes in, your machine learning model will predict whether to allow or block. So prediction can be anything. In this particular example, say if a new website comes in, say Twitter is launched today, and you have, as a system admin, you don't know whether to allow Twitter or not. So let the machine learning model decide. So your machine learning model will decide whether this particular website should be allowed or not, because we have trained the model on that. Right? Now, if you look at the definition again, machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. This is something that we have already discussed, that provides systems ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. When I say explicitly programmed, you don't have to write any more rules now, because you have trained your model, and now your model will work with any new data that comes in the way. Okay, so yes, this is one of the overview of machine learning. Let's get into some more details now. Okay, so one more detail that I would like to discuss about is, let's look at this particular picture. So if I have to talk about, say, types of machine learning. Now, let me just show you this particular picture again. Guys, this column, the last column, which is allow, whether you have to allow a particular website or not. So this is something that we'll be actually predicting. Okay, so this is called as a target variable. We call this as a target variable. Basically, something that you actually predict. That's called as a target variable. If you have a target variable in your data, just listen to this carefully. If you have a target variable in your data, then it's called as a supervised learning. It's called as a supervised learning if you have a target variable. If you do not have a target variable in your data set, it's called as unsupervised learning. Okay, as simple as that. Because I still remember, as I told you, when I start my journey in machine learning 2 years back, I used to listen to these terms quite often: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and it was very confusing. When I saw on the internet, there was too much of information, too much of information. So I have to simplify it. Supervised learning, if your data set has a target variable, it's a supervised learning. If your data set does not have a target variable, it's unsupervised learning. As simple as that.
Okay, I had a question for you, Akib. So,
Yes.
if you want to, give it in a layman's term, what does, supervised and unsupervised learning means? Like a beginner who is completely new to machine learning, who doesn't know about the target variables, how would you define it then?
Okay. So in that case, say if you know what you are predicting, if you already know, see, basically machine learning involves prediction, right? So if you already know what you are going to predict, it's a supervised learning. If you don't know what is the prediction at the end, in that case, it's unsupervised learning. So I
Okay.
think that answers your question.
Okay, we have a question for you. Please
Yeah.
share your knowledge how to remember Python code and concepts. As a fresher, I'm not able to remember the code. And for this, I feel it's not necessary to remember the code because it's available now everywhere, but it's better to understand how the algorithm works. So,
I
what is your view on it?
Yeah, I get a lot of questions. A lot of times when I'm handling classes, I sit in front of 200 people, 200 of my students, and on the other side, I'm presenting. When I'm importing some library, I forget which library it comes from. Say I have to import one function called train test split, and I forget where does it exactly come from. So what am I trying to tell you is, even after years of experience, it's not very likely that you will remember the syntax and the
Yeah,
function names, and it's absolutely okay. What I suggest my students is, just be aware that these are the things which are possible in Python, these are the functions available to us. Okay, just
yeah,
remember these are the things which are possible, because we always have an internet. You can always go to internet, get the syntax, get the function name, get the library name, all of that. So if someone is facing trouble in remembering Python functions, just get an awareness what and all is possible with Python. How can that be done? You don't have to remember syntax or the function names. So yes, that is one of the suggestions that I would like to give over here.
okay. Also, do you often get asked what courses should I follow? What blogs should I read? Is this course good? Is this course not good? So, what is your take
I
on it?
get that question a lot of times. Anytime I get that question, I question back asking, tell me what is your interest? So say if somebody likes automation, or somebody likes web development, just because there's a hype in machine learning and AI doesn't mean you'll have to jump into these fields. So my
Yeah.
question is, whatever you like, try exploring that field first. And then, and whenever you ask me what course should I take on everything, my question is, what is your interest? So see, if your interest is web development, find out what is trending in web development. Find out what frameworks are, trending in web development. Try doing those courses first. So question again comes back to them, what interests you? And then, you can probably
Yeah.
get the answer to that.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
basically what is your interest, because you as a person would be interested in a course, but that course would not be suitable for every person in the community or in the world, right? Everyone has their own preferences and work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you can go ahead with your session.
Okay. So guys, I told you machine learning is used for prediction. That is what we have seen. Like, why do we even need a machine learning? And then we're speaking about types of machine learning right now. If you have a target variable, something that that this should be predicted, then it's a supervised learning. And we have also something called as unsupervised learning. Apart from these, we have few more: semi-supervised learning, reinforcement learning, deep learning. So we have few more. I will just give you an overview of supervised learning, and then we'll switch to another topic. So if, say this is your data, and you want to predict this last column, which is say scored marks or the grades. Okay, because everything else looks same, this is something which is different. So if your target variable, something that you're predicting, is a numerical value, it's a continuous value, in that case it's a regression problem. If you want to predict, if your target variable is a categorical value, it's a discrete set. When I say discrete, you have very few values in your available range. In that case, it's a classification problem. First of all, if there is a target variable, it's a supervised machine learning model. And if your range is a continuous value, basically your target variable is a continuous value, in that case it's a regression problem. Otherwise it's a classification problem. Okay, so this is on a very high level. I know I'm going a little fast because of time constraints. So yes, Supervised learning has two subtopics, which is regression and classification. If your target variable is a continuous value, mostly it's going to be numerical. In that case, it's a regression problem. If your target variable is, say, categorical value, which is a discrete set, in that case, it's a classification problem. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. Unsupervised, I'm not going to touch right now, but then I have a small game that I would like to play. Manpreet, in this case, if I want to see the answers on the chat, what can be done?
You
Can
could just stop. Okay, I'll just stop sharing so that you could see the chat. Would that work?
yeah, yeah, I think that will be better
Okay, cool. Yeah.
because here I would like to see the answers. Okay, guys, I'll be showing you a couple of pictures. You know, in the very next second, whatever comes to your mind, you have to just put that over there. Very next
Okay.
second.
So I just share the screen. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Guys, what comes to your mind when you look at this particular picture? I don't know where. Where do I get the answers, Manpreet?
Yeah, chat. You go down.
Okay, I think so. I'm
I'll
down.
let I'll put it on the screen if it's okay. Like if you
Oh,
can see, yeah, that would be better when someone answers.
okay. So, guys, if I ask you this simple question, what comes to your mind, say, when you look at this particular picture? A lot of you will say it's a dog. You know, as simple as, it's a dog. It's a dog picture. It's a cute dog picture. Okay. If I show you this picture, obviously, again, you guys will say it's a, again, dogs, very cute picture. That is what comes to our mind. You know, the very
Yeah,
next fraction of second, right? If I show you this picture, again, it's a kitten. It's a cat or a kitten. You know, it's mid-size, so even I'm confused whether this is a kitten or a cat. Whatever that is, it's a cute
it
cat.
feels like a mixture of dog and kitten.
So yeah, actually the face and the body, right? So yeah. So this is what comes to our mind, right?
I don't know. Someone answered POV human.
Sorry?
Someone answered on the screen POV human.
POV. Okay. Okay.
And somebody answered it as puppy.
When you look at this particular picture, again, I'll tell you what topic I'm coming to. What comes to your mind, guys, when you look at this particular picture?
Some said pup. Okay, we haven't received the answer for it yet.
So, okay. So, say if somebody looks at this particular picture, basically it's a truck. Maybe somebody is driving a truck, there's a road, there's a truck. That is what comes to our mind. Okay, so say if I show this picture, everyone will say it's a old man looking at the camera, something like that. That is what comes to our mind. So say I showed you a dog picture, dog, cat, or a old man, or a truck, whatever it is. This is what comes to our mind. If
I
I,
can guess what you are coming to now.
sorry,
I can guess what you are coming to now. How a
yeah,
model, how a brain is trained to recognize things,
correct, correct,
right?
correct. So
Yeah.
say if I show you this picture, for a fraction of second, you know your brain is gonna be, what exactly is this? Okay, so here there's an elephant, butterflies, and what exactly is this? For a fraction of second, I know your brain will understand this is a fake picture, but then for a fraction of second, it's gonna get confused somewhere, right? Similarly, if I show you, say, this picture, again, for a fraction of second, it's gonna get tricked. Same goes with this picture. So here, what am I actually trying to tell you is, we guys as humans, we with from our childhood, we have seen a lot of things, we have felt a lot of things. So in our brain, we know what these things are. So as soon as we look at those things, we will get to know. Now, a lot of artificial intelligence, basically this concept was derived to mimic the brain activity, how exactly brain recognizes things. So if we can give this kind of a power to a computer which has a lot of storage, a lot of computing power, it's going to be amazing. That was the whole concept of coming up with something called as artificial intelligence. Okay, so for that, all of you know what is a neuron, right? What is a neuron? Neuron is one of the basic unit of a brain. It helps in transferring the basically the information. Every neuron is connected to so many other neurons, all of that. So in deep learning, when I was talking about machine learning, I did speak about types of machine learning, in which I told there are different types of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. And there's something called as deep learning. So deep learning is actually involving a lot of neural networks, something which amazes me even till date when I start working on that. Neural network is an amazing concept, guys. Okay, so yes, I just wanted to talk about a little on neuron. So neuron, if you just see, neuron is the basic working unit of a brain, a specialized cell designed to transmit information to other nerves, muscles, and glands. This is a biology statement, but yes, even in artificial networks, sorry, artificial intelligence, we have concepts of neural network. Okay, so here teeth will be giving you overall idea how exactly neural network works and everything. Okay, so yes, this is where I stop and I hand it over to my buddy Teeth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akib. That was a really good session.
Okay, thank
So thank you. Okay, so now let us just come and let us just understand deep learning. Okay. Now before I come to
Before
this,
we move ahead, I
okay,
have a
okay.
question for you both. Can I know how to find the best insights from the business problem? What things we consider and guide us about?
Can I know how to find best insights from a business problem? What things we consider and guide us about
The
where to go?
interview this.
Okay, if somebody is actually talking about the business, this is something that I would really appreciate, because a lot of people getting into the field of machine learning or AI, they tend to underestimate business statements, understanding the business. Understanding business is a very good thing. So Jagdish, if you have asked this question, I can assume that you know the importance of understanding business, which is very good. Now, how do you get the insights of a business problem? First of all, say if you want to understand the business problem, you will sit with those people who have that problem. Say your client or your colleague or your manager who has that problem that you are trying to solve. Okay, in order to get the insights, we have data analytics. So data analytics and visualization is one of the things that people usually tend to follow in order to get the insights. So yes, that is what I would say. Data visualization, exploring data, performing EDA on the data, those are the things which will actually give you the insights. Okay, so I hope I answered your question.
Correct. And there is not some Jagdish, there is not something like there are some particular tasks that once you know those all tasks, you will able to get the best insights. It's not something like this. There are multiple things that comes into the consideration according to the problem. So it's not something like I have learned statistic and I know mean, mode, and median, and I know binomial distribution. Then I will be able to find the best insights. It's not something like this, right? So basically, for the data science, you should focus on some stats concepts, mathematical concepts, and then come to the Python and the visualization and exploration part that Akib told. Okay, so using
Yes,
this sort of things, you will be able to perform some insightful explorations on the data. Okay, so it's something like this. It varies with the problems. There is not something generic thing that you can do, you can apply, and you can get the insight.
I like
Okay.
that statement. It's not generic. Very true. It's not generic. So, it's more like a trial and error sometimes. So yes,
Correct,
definitely.
correct.
Okay. Before we move ahead, what is one AI application that you both have encountered and found it very interesting? A very interesting and useful case of AI. You both are
Deep
working.
learning.
I
Deep
mean an
learning.
application like Alexa voice,
Okay,
okay, in that sense.
okay, okay.
Hmm.
So
I Yeah,
yeah,
you can
Akib,
keep
go ahead.
on.
Akib, go ahead.
So one of the project that I'm a little confused. I've worked on a couple of projects. I'm just thinking which one do I find the most interesting one. Uh,
It could be anything. Your project, others' project, anything.
Okay, so basically, guys, when I say I work in machine learning, I work in machine learning in combination with automation most of the times. So my main field is automation, and if that solution requires me to bring in machine learning, then I have to do that as well. So that is what my role is in my company. So here there was one project where before a customer becomes a customer to a company, the customer is called as a prospect, right? So I had to validate that. I mean, there was an entire team which was doing prospect validation. It was called as prospect validation. So there was one ML solution which was involved, an AI solution which will help us predict whether this particular prospect is a valid prospect or not. Okay, so that was one of the project which I did probably in 2018. After that, also I've done a lot of projects, but this is one of the project which I feel, because this saved a lot of time for the company, because there was an entire team which was doing this activity called prospect validation. So now that entire task got automated. So yes, this is one of the most interesting project that I would say I've worked on.
Okay.
Okay, and when it comes to me, recently I am working on gaming things, like how to have AI in gaming. Okay, so yes, most right now, if you see the market, then the market actually has the voice interfaces. Voice interfaces means chatbots, and even the Tesla is working on autonomous vehicles. So these all applications are there. But if you see the backend stuff that is not highlighted in the market, it's gaming. Okay, so in this gaming stuff, even the PUBG, even the NFS speed, I don't remember the name. NFS, am I right, Akib? NFS?
NFS
Nitro.
speed. It's been years
Yeah, NFS.
I stopped
Yeah.
playing game state, so I don't think I'm the appropriate person to answer this question.
Okay. So this all games also use reinforcement learning.
Hmm.
Okay, so they use this all thing. So right now I'm exploring this field, and this all gaming stuff is really very intuitive when it comes to AI and machine learning.
Okay, we have a question yet again. I'm trying to practice Kaggle from, data sets, and it's just like going and copying and pasting the code. It's making me nothing satisfied. So how do I overcome this thing?
We need someone who's already into competitive programming and all this should be able to answer this question.
Okay, okay. Okay, so yes, Jagdish, see, you are, I'm
He's
just
a
guessing what you
fresher.
are doing.
Or like to be clear, he's someone fresher into this field.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Jagdish. So, see, I would also like to answer your first question that as a fresher, how we can understand the business model. Okay, that's the only reason why freshers are not getting the job as a data scientist. Okay, because you cannot understand the business model. So that's why what companies do, they hire people. Okay, they hire people as a software developer or as a financial analyst. They work for 1 or 2 years in that companies. After working, they get the business model into the brain, and then they can transition as a data scientist in that same company. Okay, so this is the only reason why freshers are not getting data science job very easily. This is the number one reason. Okay. So unless and until you have not did any internships as a data scientist, the chances are very low that you will get the job as a data scientist. And when it comes to the second question, that you are practicing Kaggle data sets. So now let me just guess what you are doing. Okay, what you are doing. You are opening the Kaggle. You are selecting a competition or a project. Then you are looking at some notebooks. Am I right or wrong, Jagdish? You are looking at some notebooks. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, if he'll reply.
Okay, I will reply. I'm just waiting for his reply. Yeah, Jagdish. Okay. Okay, Jagdish. So see, copying the code and pasting the code, everyone who is learning from Kaggle does this. Even I did this, even Akib did this. But
Yeah.
where the real thing comes, you are not just copying and pasting, but when you are understanding the concepts that what is actually happening. Then next time when something similar will come, what you will be doing, you will be implying those all knowledge that you gain from those copying and pasting of code in that previous project. You will apply the same thing, the same concept in the next project without even copying that code. Okay, so copying and pasting is okay, but with that you should understand what you are doing. No, don't just copy and paste, but understand why you are copying and pasting, what that code is doing, what's the reason, what's the backend, what's the back of that code. If you are grabbing this, then it's okay to copy and paste.
Maybe during my journey, I learned it this by debugging someone else's code and trying to
Correct.
implement it. And
Exactly.
some codes really have a very good things and libraries used that that who might have won the Kaggle competition, which we might as a fresher would have never thought of even using. So take it as a learning while you are debugging and try to implement it on some other's code so that you learn
Correct.
what you learned by copying, you can implement it, right?
Correct, correct. And I would like to also share my one more experience. See, I have recently resumed my competitive programming journey. Okay, so there, what I do first when I have an encounter of a question, then what I do, I first I first find the logic. I first try to find the logic. Then I also upload my logic. But if it's not the best one, then what I do, I open some code of some best people who are on the top. Opening that code, I just see what they did and why they did what they did. Okay, so I get some insights from there. I get to know some different concepts that he have used. And then in future, I also use that same thing. Okay, so even on Kaggle, you can do this thing. Just have this approach in mind.
Okay, as you raised this point of competitive coding, even me as a fresher, when I was getting out of college, it was like always, to get a job, you should know competitive coding. So,
Correct.
how important do you feel when you are into data science that competitive coding also plays a very important part to it, or it does not? So, how does that work?
Mm, in data
Akib and
science,
Deep.
okay,
Yeah.
Akib, you answer, you answer.
Okay. See, I have been a part of competitive programming when I was in college. I still regret why am I not doing it right now because of time. I don't get to do that a lot. But then what I learned through that phase of competitive programming is to come up with a logical thinking. So logical thinking is not specific to say one language or one problem or one set of problems. Once you get that critical thinking, how do you look at a particular question? How do you think for a solution for that? If you get that kind of a mindset, it's going to help you everywhere, be it data science, be it machine learning, be it anything for that matter. It's going to help you. So competitive
Correct.
programming is one of those fields which will help you improve your logical thinking. So once you get that, you can apply it anywhere. It could be machine learning, it could be data science, it could be anything for that matter. And these fields, machine learning, data science, very first, the start of the pipeline is the start of the pipeline is understanding the business problem. Only then you
Correct.
can come up with a logical solution for that. So yes, it does help you in a long run.
Very true, okay, very true.
Yeah, your views, Steve. I guess recently I saw your Instagram post trying competitive coding. So, what is your views on it?
Yeah, whatever Akib told, it's very important. See, in data science, there is some coding, okay, but it's not something like software development. So data structures and algorithms will not be that useful in data science, but I agree to the point of Akib that competitive programming opens your brain. It provides you a surface of logical and creative and critical thinking, and that too in short, limited amount of time. So these are the roots, these are the base, these are the pillars on which your data science and machine learning journey will stand. Okay, so really competitive programming is really very important in everyone's career. What I say is before moving to machine learning and all those things, first clear the concepts of competitive programming, try that thing, and then go and move on the machine learning stuff.
And it's fun at the same time. It's really really fun. I
Correct.
remember I've spent sleepless nights on. I was on Code Chef back then. Code Chef. I think Code Chef it still
Correct.
exists. I was on Code Chef back.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's lead core, more important
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
of the
lead
interviews.
code would have.
so it's really fun. Everyone will
Yeah.
agree with me. Who was doing computer program, they will agree with it. So yes.
Okay. One last question before we move ahead with the teeth question. After COVID, how do you see the advancement of AI and data science in perspectives of job, in perspective of growing as an application and into the industry? Yeah, anyone of you can start off here.
Okay, what I have observed is, okay, I'll be a little, what do you say? Not harsh maybe, but I think I'm gonna go a little brutal here, because I have seen a lot of students complaining that companies are not coming because of COVID, hiring is not happening because of COVID, and all of that. So those are one set of people that I've seen. On the other hand, just because of COVID, I've seen people who have, I mean, because of more time that they have in hand right now, they have improved on their skill set. And because of that, during this COVID time, when people are complaining there's no hiring going on, I have seen a couple of students of mine who have grabbed multiple offers from the companies, because they have, they have utilized this COVID time, home quarantine time, or whatever you want to call it. They have utilized it, and they have got that expertise. So I think this is an advantage for us. More time in hand, it's an advantage for us. And hiring, I think hiring and everything is back to normal. So whatever we had before COVID time, it's back to normal. And you guys have these times right now, like, more time in hand, you can improve your skill set. And you can just go on. It's happening right now, hiring and everything.
Correct, correct. And I would also like to have one point in this. See, jobs are there. Okay, jobs are there. But why don't you plan to do some freelancing work in AI and machine learning? Like we let's say 1 year before, there was a person who had a job, okay, as a data scientist. And due to this COVID, many of the top companies like Uber, Zomato, they have left their employees. They have just uh, just cut down their employees. Okay. So at that time, even data scientists and this all high profiles also were removed from the company. So if you have your knowledge, if you have your skills, then why don't you start freelancing?
Okay.
Your job is there. Your job is there, but why don't you start something that is yours, that you work without any head on you? Okay. Surely it will bring you less money, but it will help you sustain these tough conditions. Okay. And there are many people who are just doing freelancing. So once you have those skills, you can also apply for on different platforms on AI and machine learning part. Okay.
Yeah, we have a question from one of your viewer, Aditya Sharma. He's asking, tell me which field I choose that's best or trending in current scenario, like AI or web development with Django. Other than that, I know machine learning can also work with Django.
Okay, it comes back to the same thing which we discussed some time back. I would like to ask,
Correct.
what is your interest over here? So,
Correct.
yeah, AI. See, there are things which are trending everywhere. There are things which are trending in web development also. Web development is a 20-year-old field. People think it's going to go away, but then it's not going away. Every time
Yeah.
there's a new feature coming up, and there are good things happening in web development field as well. And AI, obviously, it looks like it's a new field, even though it's not a new field.
Yeah.
It looks like that, and it's getting the hype right now. Machine learning and AI, it's getting hype right now from past 4 5 years maybe. So I would like to ask you the question: what is your interest? So say if your interest is in web development, I would suggest you go in web development. When I say web development, look for the trending things in web development. Get the whichever says the latest framework which is used in the market. Look for full stack web development. So look for things like that. And when you say AI, the field is wide open. So you can get into anything with got to do with AI, say NLP for that matter, computer vision for that matter, anything of that sort. So yes, see what is your interest first, and then you can proceed. Don't go with
Correct.
whatever people are trying to follow. Hype will be created
Yeah.
now. Later, it's going to be blockchain, or it can be HPC. It can be anything for that matter.
Yeah.
But try looking at what is your interest.
Yeah.
Okay. To this question, I have one more question for this 12 audience who is looking us. Okay, who is there online, seeing us live. Aditya,
It's
if I tell
actually
you, you
it's
just
actually more, but yeah, you could see this the top 12
okay.
are watching you.
Okay. So Aditya, if I tell everyone, can you just name few companies that comes to your mind when I say Fortune 500 companies? Come on.
Okay.
Can you just name the first companies that is coming to your mind? It can be a social media company, it can be a logistic company, it can be anyone. Any sector that you are using every day. Come on, hurry up. It can be YouTube also because YouTube is
Google
also a
comes to
company.
my mind when I heard Hopes
Yeah,
500,
Google,
maybe
YouTube,
It's
Facebook.
Facebook,
Okay.
the
Okay. Other
first
than this,
one.
no one
Microsoft.
remembers.
Maybe.
Fang.
Microsoft. Okay.
Okay, Fang, you can include all. Fang.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Fang. Okay, Fang. Now, if you will see Aditya, to your question, these companies, whatever companies comes to your mind, they are using web development and also machine learning both simultaneously in their platform. If you will see Google, if you will see Facebook, if you will see Instagram, if you will see YouTube, if you will see Lenscart, everyone is using web development plus AI and machine learning together. Now, why I opened this stuff, the reason is, see, even if you know machine learning, but what is your end goal of learning machine learning? To bring product in the hands of the user. Okay. Now, to bring that product in the hands of the user, you have to deploy your machine learning model somewhere. Are you getting my point? You cannot show Jupyter notebook to the recruiter or your user. Hey, see, this is my Jupyter notebook. You run all these cells and you will get your answer. This is not the thing. You have to build a application. You have to build an application that can be a web application, that can be a game, that can be a web application or Android application, right?
Yeah.
A mobile application or an iOS application. So think like this. AI is AI is also necessary, and to gain a higher advantage with this all fields, web development or app development is also important. So
Yeah.
take both of the things together. Okay.
Yeah, adding to your point, like I remember, like AI data science existed as just statistics back then when data was very less and used by just very few people.
Correct.
As the time evolved, it's like the data has become the necessity of people to understand their customers because it's fair enough, okay, in this competitive world. So,
Correct.
like, yeah, AI is just, icing on the cake, and the whole thing down is your web, how you make the framework, how you make it look. So, I
Correct.
think if it's really good, machine learning, Django, and web dev, you could build an end-to-end product. So it's
Correct.
good if
Correct.
you know everything.
Correct.
I think
So
I think your session will go into armor because you're getting a lot of questions. Yeah.
yeah,
So
not
next,
an issue. Not an issue.
yeah,
Okay, Aditya Sharma once again has a question. Can AI and Django both stick simultaneously?
yes.
Aditya, on MAD, we have a workshop of Django. Me and Aqib take that workshop. Okay. So once you will join, you will get to know that yes, this both can stick together and this both can bring revolutions in web applications industries. Okay. So yes, they can. Okay, Manpreet, should we start with deep learning or else
We
this will
have
go
one more
into a problem?
question. Yeah, we have one more question by Jagdish. Which sector should I choose, like finance, banking, health, etc.? And I don't know.
Interest, interest. I am sticking with the Aqib's point interest.
Yes, I think it is the same thing. Finance,
Yeah.
banking, health. All these sectors are good. Okay, if I have to choose, say, one of these sectors, I come from a telecom industry, telecom background. So if I have to choose, I'll go with the telecom sector. But say if I
Correct,
had any other option, then probably I would have gone with finance because machine learning, data science, they involve a lot of data. And when it comes to finance, when it comes to money, data is a lot, it's important. At the same time, even banking for that matter. So I would choose either banking or finance because that is my interest. So yes, as per your interest, you can choose whatever it is, Jagdish.
correct. There are a lot
I think there's some sort of internet problem from Manpreet's side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's good now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you
Okay,
disappeared,
Manpreet.
even the messages have disappeared. So I don't see any message
Correct.
right now.
I feel like I working into the publishing company as a data engineer. I know it's so good. There's a lot of data you can play with, and I never thought of it. So it's up to you, your interest. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, we can move ahead with deep learning and take the questions ahead after your session because it will
Okay.
get
Sure, sure.
continuously good.
Sure, sure, sure. Sure, Manpreet. So can you just present my screen? Okay, okay, that's great. Okay. So now, how many of you from here already know deep learning? Anyone from over here, you can just type yes in the chat box. Come on, hurry up. We have just 10 seconds for the answers. Anyone knowing deep learning? Anyone knowing deep learning? Deep learning is the most revolutionary part. Is the most revolutionary part when it comes to machine learning. Okay, so deep learning is something when it is introduced, it just revolutionized the field with a lot many applications entered and a lot many things happened. Okay, so now we'll be looking into deep learning stuff. We'll be looking into some very deep insights of how neural networks work. Okay, how neural networks work. And yes, even if you know this all things, I bet you whatever I will be sharing with you, you will be not knowing. Okay, you will be not knowing because we just all know the forward propagation and the backward propagation. But beyond this, what is actually happening in the backend stuff. So this is, I will be sharing with you some very cool stuff that is not, maybe that is not present on the internet. So yes, I will try to explain you in the very simplest way. So yes, Manpreet, if you can just share my screen, it will be good for me. Is it shared? Okay, super.
Yeah, we had some answers regarding our deep learning. Some do know, some are like why, some are like sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Even if you know, you will be not knowing this all stuff. Okay, it's that level of deep learning that I will be sharing with you all people. Okay, so now just wait. Present. Okay. So first the question arises why there are so much of ease over here. The so much of ease are over here just because to tell you that this is the deep learning. Okay, not just learning, not just machine learning, but this is the deep learning. And these are the foundations of artificial intelligence and all the applications that you see around. There is a Tesla, autonomous vehicles, recommendation engines, chatbots, whatever you see in the market, they all are the applications of deep learning. Okay. Okay. Now, let's say these two are the data points. Okay. These two are the data points. Right now, you just ignore this line. You just ignore this red line. Okay. And you just see this all data points. You just imagine that this red line is not present over here. This red line is not present over here. And just imagine this 2 points over here, that is the blue points and this gray points with the black borders. Now what if I want to separate these points? What if I want to separate these points? Then I will form this line that will separate these two data points, these two different types of data points, right? Now let's say this line has an equation 3y minus 2x equals to 1. Okay, what is the equation? 3y minus 2x is equals to 1. Okay, super. Now, you may have a question. Hey, Tirth, how to find this line? How to find this equation? I am not going in this all stuff because it will require some basic of calculus and algebra. So right now I can go in that stuff, but you just imagine, you just think that this is the line and this is the equation of the line. Okay, to separate these two data points, these two types of data points. Now you will see that this is the x and y coordinate. Okay, here it's a two-dimensional plane. So there are x and y coordinates. Now if I choose this point, then this point will have some x coordinate and this point will also have some y coordinate. Okay, so this x1 is the x coordinate and this x2 is the y coordinate. Now if you will see what we did with the y coordinate, we multiply 3. See over here, with this y coordinate, we are multiplying 3. Okay. And with this x coordinate, we are multiplying -2. See, with the x coordinate, we are multiplying -2. Doing this, we will be also adding a bias. What is the bias? This 1 is the bias. So if I take this 1 on this left side, then it will give me the equation as 3y minus 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Okay, so this bias will be the -1. And if I add everything, then I will be getting this equation. That is 3y minus 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Okay, everyone agrees with me or not? Come on. I want your answer. Everyone agrees with me or not? Everyone is clear up to this point?
Um, yeah.
Everyone is clear up to this point? I want your answers. Okay.
Agree. They agree
Agree.
into it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Superb. 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 Now, what I want to show you is, see, now this is the neuron. See, this is the neuron. Where is my pointer? Come on. Okay. This is the neuron where we give the input. Where we give the input. Okay. And this is forming an equation of this line. This is forming an equation of this line. I want you to be clear up to this point. Now, if if whatever we are getting this is lesser than 0, now, what I mean by less than 0, see, let us take some point, let's say 0, comma 1. Okay, the x is 0 and sorry, the x is 2 and y is 1. Then what will be the equation? 3 minus 4 minus 1. So that will be equal to -2. Now, -2 is lesser than 0. -2 is less than 0. So the point will lie somewhere over here. Okay, see 2 comma 1, 2 comma 1 will lie somewhere over here. So if after putting x and y, if we are getting the value lesser than 0, then we assume sorry, this will prove that that point will lie over here, that is below this line. Okay, so if it is below this line, we'll predict 0. 0 means this, we are predicting this as a point. Let's say this is the car and this is the truck. Then if the point is coming over here, then we will conclude that this is the truck. Okay, and truck means 0 and car means 1. Okay, so if we are getting value as less than 0, then it's a truck, means it's a 0. It's a 0. 0 means truck. And if we are getting greater than 0, then it's a car. Okay, and car means greater than 0. Greater than 0 means 1. So here we have one what we can say activation function. Okay, we have an activation function. What this activation function does, it just takes this value, whatever value we got out of this equation, it takes that value, and after getting that value, it checks this whether this y it is less than 0. If it is less than 0, then predict 0. Whether this y is greater than 1, if it's greater than 1, then predict 1. What is 1? 1 means car and 0 means truck. Okay, so that's how we classify things. That's how we run the classification problem. This x and y are the features of cars and trucks. So as soon as we input these features, it will form this line. It will form this line. Okay, and after forming this line, it will calculate this value as per x and y. And as soon as we get the value, it will just run this activation function and will predict 0 or 1, that is truck or car. Okay, so this is the what we can say is the logistic regression. Okay, but I have just converted the logistic regression into a what I can say is a deep learning model, deep learning thing, that is neurons and all those stuff. Okay, so now everyone is clear with this part. Everyone is clear with this part. Come on, just write clear if you are clear. So then I can move to the next stuff. It will be a bit advanced. Perfect. Superb, 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 superb. Now, guys, see, with the classical machine learning, you can just form the linear model. That is, with linear regression and logistic regression, you can just form a linear model. But what if I want to form a non-linear model? There is something where deep learning comes into the consideration. Deep learning is something like a ninja, catch. Okay, it can cut at any dimension in any way. Okay, it can cover any it we will move to some higher concepts. Now see, okay, now this is the activation function. This is the activation function. You can see over here, if x is positive, then predict 1, and if x is negative, then predict 0. Okay, so this is the activation function that we keep over here. Super. Okay, now what if we have a linear model? Sorry, what if we have a non-linear? Now see, you will see over here, we cannot have one line that is separating these two data points. Okay, we cannot have one line that is separating these two data types. I cannot have one line. If I will have a line over here, then these points will be missed out, and if I will have a line over here, then these points will be missed out. Okay, so there here what we have to do, we have to form a non-linear model, something like this, something like this, something like this. Okay, now how the deep learning will form this model? Okay, no one on internet is showing you how to form this model, but right now in this session I will actually crack the code, like how deep learning works, how it breaks things, how it forms this non-linear very complex models. Okay, so are you all excited to know how deep learning forms the model? Then type excited in your chat. Come on, just type excited in your chat so that I get to know your excitement level. Are you all excited to know how deep learning actually works? Do you want to visualize? Do you want to visualize the deep learning, how neural network works? Then type excited. Type excited in the chat. Come on. I will literally show you the visualization of how deep learning works. Excited? Wow, super cool. Okay, so now let me just present. Okay, so now you just ignore this red line. Okay, you just ignore this red line. You just ignore this red line. Okay, and you just visualize these two data points. Don't see this red line. Just assume that there is a white space instead of this red line. What this deep learning will do, it will first form this line. Okay, now you all people know how this line will work. This line will work something like this. Okay, this line will work something like this. So it will form this one line over here. Okay, right after forming this one line, it will also form this another line. Okay, now equation for this line is this w21.x1 plus w22.x2 plus b. Okay, this is nothing but what we did over here. You will see over here, then what we did, w1 into x1 plus w2 into x2 plus b. Okay, so this is something similar. The equation of this line is this, and equation of this line is this. Okay, so a deep learning model will have multiple cuts, and this cuts will separate the data points. Now see, this data point is separated and this data points are also separated. So using these two cuts, if we ignore this lower part, then this will be the model that we will be forming. This will be the separator that our deep learning will be forming. Okay. Now we will see how these things will work, how it will form these lines, and how these lines will be taken into the consideration. Okay, because as a human I know that this will be formed, but how to classify. So let's go ahead. See, this is the x1 and this is the x2. Okay, now looking at this slide you might get confused, like, hey Tirth, what you are doing here, this is too much complex for me. Don't worry, I will just break down things and make it as simple as possible. Okay, what I need is your focus. Even for 1 second, don't lose your focus. Even for 1 second, don't lose your focus. Okay, now see, this is the x1 and this is the x2. Okay, now this is the x1 and x2. Now this is the w1 and this is the w2. Okay, these two will form this. There will be also a bias that we will be adding, but just imagine that there is a bias that is being added. Okay, and we will get this thing. What is this thing? That is h1. That is h1. Now you all people know Now you all people know how to find this H1. This is nothing but this. See, X1, X2, W1, W2, adding the bias, we get this Y. Here we are getting the H1. Okay, instead of Y, we are getting the H1. So now have a look at this slide. See, X1, X2, W1, W21, and then we have an H1. Okay, ignore this all stuff. Ignore this all stuff. Ignore this all stuff. Okay, so looking over here, what we will get, see, this is the line. This is the line. Now we will get H1 as the output from 0 or 1. So basically, if this is the line, and if we are taking the point as x equals to 2 and x equals to 1, then our point will lie somewhere over here. Our point will lie somewhere over here. So now can you all tell me, after having the activation function, what will be the value of h1? It will be a 0 or it will be 1. Just look at this slide and I want you to predict what will be the value of h1. Just wait. If my point is lying over here, then what will be the value of h1? 0 or 1? 0 or 1? If my point is lying over here, then what will be the value of h1? It will be 0 or it will be 1? My point is a gray block, a gray data point. 0, 0. Superb guys, superb. So now see. Okay. So now see. Using this equation, as my point is lying over here, and this is my line, and the line equation is this. So what my deep learning model will do, as my point is lying over here, if we take this line into consideration, and the point is lying below this line, so that's why this h1 will have 0 after applying this step function. Okay, so first of all, I will find this w11.x1 plus w22.x2 plus b, and this will give me a negative value. Then I will pass this negative value to a function, an activation function, and this function will give me 0, as if x is 0, then y will be 0. See over here. So that's why h1 will be 0. h1 will be 0. Okay, now you forget this w11, w21 and h1. Now we will calculate this. Second line. Where is the second line? See, now we will find, if my data point is lying over here, then according to this line, what will be the value? What will be the value of h2 if I calculate this stuff? Now see the weights are different. Now the weight is w12 and w22. First, what are the weights? W11 and W21. Using this W21 and W11, we form this line. This was the line. And these are the W11 and W21 for this line. And using this, we calculated this H1. Now, we take a different set of weights. So W12 into X1 plus W22 into X2 will form a different line. And what is that line? This is the line. Now you tell me, if the point is this, this red dot, then what will be the value of H2? 0 or 1? 0 or 1? Come on. Will it be 0? Will it be 1? If my point is lying over here, where? Over here. Using this line, use this line. If my point is over here, then what will be the value of H2? 0 or 1? Come on guys, think. My point is lying over here. 1. Yeah. 1. Yeah, Aditya, I have not covered the Y. Okay, bhago mat. Don't run. I am telling you how hidden states work. What is the meaning of deep learning? What is the meaning of neural networks? What is happening in the back end? Okay, yeah, warrior, yes. The H2 will be 1. No, Jagdish. No, Jagdish. The H2 will be 1. Now, let me just tell you why the H2 will be 1. See. Now, this is the line, okay? This is the line. Now, you just have to think, this point is lying above this line or below this line. This point is lying above this line or below this line. It is lying above this line. If it is lying above this point, above this line, then when we will calculate this, it will give us answer that is higher than it will give us the answer that is higher than 0. Okay, the answer will be positive. The answer of this statement will be positive. The answer of this statement will be positive. If it is positive, if I pass to this activation function, you can see over here, if answer is positive, then the y is 1. Then the y is 1. Okay, so the h2 will be 1. H2 will be 1. Okay, the H2 will be 1. So here, what is actually happening, guys? What is actually happening? See, what is happening? Here, the neural network at this hidden network, at this hidden layer, what it is doing, it is cutting down the points. It is forming these two lines. It is extracting these two features by forming these lines. Okay, and it is doing without our knowing. It's something like black box. You just pass the inputs and it will find the patterns. It will break down the data in such a way that it will divide, it will separate these 2 points in 2 different ways. Okay, okay, are you getting my point? Everyone is clear why h1 is 0 and h2 is 1? Just type clear. Everyone is clear why h1 is 0 and h2 is 1? Just type clear. Just type clear. Come on, guys. We don't have time. Clear? Super, super, super. Now see. Now see. Now, now see, guys. You don't have to think how my neural network will get these weights. How my neural network will get these weights and bias. Okay, it's a very complex thing. It's a concept of feed forward and back propagation. Okay, okay, feed forward propagation, that is forward propagation and backward propagation. So right now I'm not going into that stuff. It comes into the training of neural network. Once you train, you will get this all weights. Okay, so right now I am assuming that this neural network is trained and we have this lines. We have this lines. Okay, this lines is nothing but weights, because we saw that how this 3x minus 2y minus 1 are formed. Okay, so this 3x and minus 2y are nothing but 3 and minus 2 are nothing but this weights. Okay, so after training, this line will be automatically formed for us. Now the question arises, how to combine these two things and form this y and get this output y. Okay, and get this output y. So now what we want, see, if h1 is 0 and if h2 is 0, then we want y. Now what I mean by 0 and 0, see, I am explaining with this graph. If h1 is 0, then looking at this graph, what we get the meaning that this point is lying over here. This point is lying over here, that is below this line. If h1 is 0, then what is the meaning that the whatever will be the x and y, they are lying over here. Okay, that is below this line. And if h2 is 0, then what we mean that that point is also lying below this line. Okay, h20 means that point, whatever is the point, is also lying below this line. So if we mix these two statements, below this line and below this line, then we can assume that point will be lying somewhere over here, because this point is also below this line and also below this line. See, the point will lie somewhere over here. Do you agree with me or not? Do you agree with me or not that that point will lie somewhere over here at this point? at this point. If H1 and H2 are 0, everyone agrees? Everyone agrees? Come on, guys. Everyone agrees? Perfect. Perfect. So now see. Now see. If H1 and H2 are 0, then let us just pick this graph. So if H1 is 0, then we can conclude that our point will be lying below this graph, below this line, sorry, below this line. So somewhere at this part, in this area. Now, if H2 is also 0, then we can conclude that it will lie in this part. So if we take the intersection, then our point will be lying somewhere over here. Somewhere over here. Now if it is lying somewhere over here, then what should be the y? What should be the y? The y should be 0. The y should be 0. Right? The y should be 0 because the truck is getting 0. So the y should be 0. Okay, now you don't think how this y is 0. I will tell you how we got this y as 0. But right now I'm just telling you what should be the output according to H1 and H2. Okay, and how output is there, how output is coming considering the H1 and H2. So how if H1 changes, then H2, if H1 is changing, then y will also change. If H2 is changing, then y will also change. Now let us come to this point. If H1 is 0 and H2 is 1. Now see, if H1 is 0, then our point will lie somewhere over here. Okay, somewhere over here. Now if H now if H2 is 1, H2 is 1, then our point will lie somewhere over here in this area, in this area. Now if we take the intersection, then our point will be lying somewhere over here, somewhere in this area, somewhere in this area, this much of area. Okay, now what is this area? This area has 0. This area has only trucks, so we want 0. We want 0 over here. Okay, we want 0 over here. Now if H1 is 1, see, 1 means our point is lying somewhere over here with respect to this line, somewhere over here in this area. If H2 is 0, H2 is 0 means over here, so in this area. Now if we take the intersection of this area and this area, then we will be left with this much of area, this much of area, this much of area. Now what is present in this area? Trucks. So trucks are 0. Trucks are 0. Why will we want y as 0? Okay. Now if H1 is 1, now see, guys, now see, if H1 is 1, if H1 is 1 means our point is lying somewhere over here. And if H2 is 1, then our point is lying somewhere over here. So when we take the intersection of this area and this area, we will get this area. We will get this area. And what is present in this area? Only cars. Only cars. So we want 1 over here. So we want 1 over here. So guys, now you just think what we did. We just saw how hidden layers work. Okay, with this mathematical calculations, we just got to know how hidden layers are working. So when we provide x1 and x2, then we will see with respect to this line where our point is lying. Okay, where our point is lying, and with respect to this line where our point is lying, and then we take the intersection and we get the area where this point is lying. So if the point is lying in this, then we predict 1. And if it's lying in this, then we predict 0. Then we predict 0. Now guys, are you getting the point of hidden layer? Are you getting the point of how hidden layer works? What is the use of those H1 and H2? Everyone is getting the point. Come on guys, give me a reply. Are you getting how things are working in neural networks? What's happening, how equations are formed, and what is the importance of those equations, how they are helping us to classify things? Everyone? Yeah, exactly. Aditya, see, using these hidden layers, we will come to the conclusion of why. So see what's happening, x1 and x2, what we are doing, we are forming these hidden layers. Now what this hidden layer is doing, hidden layer is forming a pattern to classify right for us. Okay, so see this hidden this node of this hidden layer has extracted this pattern, and this H2 has extracted this pattern. So when we combine these two patterns, we are getting our Y. Okay, correct. Very, you are right. So see, this will be the final model. Wait, let me just present. See, this will be the final model. What will be the final model? See, when we combine H1 and H2, when we combine the patterns formed and extracted from the data set by H1 and H2, then this will be something that we are getting. And I told you how we got the output. See how we got the output. Let me just present. And I told you how we got this output. I explained you that if with respect to this line, if we are getting h1 as 0, then what we mean that this point, whatever will be the x1 and x2, whatever will be this point, it will be lying somewhere over here, somewhere over here. And if h2 is also 0, then with respect to this line, this point will be lying somewhere over here. Now, if we take the intersection of this area and this area, then we will get this area. We will get this area. Now, whatever points that are present in this area, they have, we want 0 because they are trucks. They are trucks. So we want output as 1. Sorry, we want output as 0. Okay. So now, till here, I want you to be clear that how this H1 and H2, how these values will help us to get this output. Now the next, I will tell you how we will get this 0. I will tell you how we will get this 0. But I want to make sure that the intuition behind this hidden layer, what this hidden layer is doing and how it will be helpful to get this output Y. I want you to, to be clear in this point. So are you all clear up to this point? Are you all clear? Type clear, type clear. Come on, type clear. Type clear, guys. Type clear. Super. Okay. So now what we will be doing? Now we'll calculate this y. We will calculate this y. Now how to calculate this y based on this information? See. If you will see over here, then I have given W1 weight to H1, W2 weight to H2, and this is the y. Okay. So once again we are forming something like this. This H1. Imagine this as the H1, imagine this as the H2. We have applied W1 to H1, W2 to H2. We have added a bias, and then we will, whatever answer we will be getting after forming the equation W1 H1 plus W2 H2 plus B, we will pass in that activation function. Now, if the value of this is negative, then we will get as 0. And if the value is positive, then we will get as 1. Okay, and this will be our final y. Okay, so now once again let's pass the value of h1 and h2 whatever we got according to this data points with this weights and bias, we will get this y. Now see, this will be the equation to get the y. Okay, this will be the equation to get the y. Now substitute w1 to 20, W2 to 20, and B as minus 30. So our bias is minus 30, W2 is 20, and W1 is 20. Okay, now see, if H1 and H2 are 0, and if we put H1 and H2 in this equation, we will get minus 30. See, H1 is 0, H2 is 0. So this whole term is 0, and this is minus 30. Okay, Now pass this minus 30 into this activation function. Now as it is negative, we will be getting 0. So see, y is 0. Y is 0. Okay. Now if h1 is 0 and h2 is 1, pass this into this equation. Pass this into this equation. Then 20 into 0, that is 0. 20 into 1, that is 20, plus minus 30. So answer will be minus 10. Pass this minus 10 into this activation function and you will get answer as 0. Okay. Now 1 and 0. 1 and 0. Then we will get, once again we will get minus 10. Pass into it and we will get 0. We will get y as 0. So now once again 1 and 1. Now comes the main thing. See, if we pass 1 and 1, then 20 into 1 20 plus 20 into 1 20. So 20 plus 20 is equals to 40. 40 minus 30 is equals to 10. Okay, this value is positive. So if we pass this value into this activation function, we will get y as 1. So now see over here, we have concluded these 2 points using W1 and W2, and we have successfully managed to classify trucks and cars. Trucks and cars. Okay. Who? So now, guys, are you clear how this neural network works? I just take you to the visualization part of the hidden layer network, and I also concluded how hidden layer network will help us to give us the output. So everyone is clear? Superb guys, superb guys, superb, superb. Now see, Manpreet, can you just present?
Yeah.
Okay. Now see guys, this is the very complex hidden, this is the very complex neural network. Okay, so now what will happen at this layer? It will find some pattern. In this layer, it will find some more pattern. In this layer, it will find some more pattern, and we will combine all the patterns to get our output. We will combine all the patterns to get our output. So just imagine every time some lines are forming, we are cutting our data points into some lines, and this lines will give, when this all the lines will combine, we will get our output. Okay. So this is the bigger pack. See, Aditya, right now, whatever I showed you, whatever weights I showed you, that they are already trained. So neural network is something like black model, black box. You just pass the weights using the forward propagation and backward propagation. It will train your model. What I mean by training the model, it will find you the weights. Okay, so at the beginning of the training, you have to initialize the weights randomly. Okay, but using the forward propagation and backward propagation algorithms, it will find you the right weights. Okay, and whatever things I told you over here, see, this line and this line, these lines are formed after training. These weights are formed after training. Okay, so we got these lines after training, and then when you use some test data, then this all lines, according to these lines, it will combine all the patterns and it will give you the classification, that is 0 or 1 if it's binary, and 0 1 2 3 4 if it's multi classification. Okay, so how was this explanation, guys? Come on, how was this explanation of neural networks?
I think we really got a clear picture of how it works and how is it going. Are there any ways to
Correct, correct.
understand the black box of neural network?
See, Warrior. Right now, I told you how this black box works. Okay, but still the training part is limited. Sorry, still the training part is left. So for that, you have to take my workshop from the MAD. There I will conclude a lot many things. A lot many things are left out in this. What I can say is neural network. So whenever there are workshops of the MAD, you can take my workshop. I will show you the whole clear picture that you will not find anywhere else online, even not in the class of N2NG.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool having you both, Akib and Deep. I guess Akib had some work, so he had to leave. But
Okay.
thank you so much for spending your weekend helping our viewers to learn. And I have linked their LinkedIn profiles and the MAD website in the description box below on YouTube, so you could check it out. And it's there on the YouTube description. I'll link it in the LinkedIn description as well after we end the live. So it would be easier for audience to get connected with you all. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Deet. It was awesome having you. And thanks to our community partners, Merge, Intern, and Mozilla Gujarat for supporting us and reaching out to more people so that we can help them and help the community to grow together. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manpreet. It was my pleasure to be over here and interact with this many of audience and taking them on the very black box stuff of deep learning and having them inside that. Yeah, Jagdish, MAD will come with deep learning workshops soon. So there you will get all the ideas, all such kind of black box things, and the visualization and also the coding stuff with applications. Okay, so you
Um,
can just check.
yeah, people still want a part two of you and Nakib on this channel. So let me know when you both are free so we can schedule a part two of this. Like a proper
Sure, sure.
session where there would be only ask me anything question.
Sure, sure. Yeah, man. Well, see, this thing happens also on MAD. So what happens when we have some workshop? Okay. So what? All the Madians, we call them Madians, not the students, Madians. So they just ask that when is the next workshop? They just want more learnings from us. So this will happen.
But I guess they are the ones they can teach you. But until and unless you don't practice research and work hard for
Exactly.
yourself, their learnings would be of no use.
Correct. Correct.
Until you don't practice, until you don't read, and until you don't experiment on your own, nothing, even
Correct.
NG courses, can make you a machine learning
Correct.
engineer or something.
And Manpreet, that's the only reason how we take the workshops. So basically, what we do after completing each step, we have a assignment. We call it a battle. Okay, so where
Yeah.
people fight with each other in building the project, and at the end of every workshop, we have a major battle. We have a major battle. So that major battle, they create a very tough project, a really complex project with whatever they have learned. Okay, so that's how our workshops goes, and that's how we provide these workshops on MAD.
Okay, so we'll soon have Jagdish and Nama session with Akib and Preet with us. In this month or maybe next month as soon as their busy schedule gets clear and they have time. And thank you so much for joining us again, and you'll see the workshops. And until then, we have many more sessions coming up by various other speakers in this month. It's related to data ethics, it's related to
Correct.
computer vision, it's related to healthcare with some awesome people and speakers out there. So don't miss out that sessions as well. Even they're very informative to learn from. Until then, we meet next time. Thank you. Bye bye and take care.
Okay, bye bye. Take care. See you.